have it all. I can have it all.
Hello, everybody. It's Christy Whitman with the Quantum Success Show, where you can get your information and inspiration to create your desires. And as you can see, I have a friend with me. This is actually an amazing man. His name is Daven Michaels, and he has made a career of living the American dream. He actually is an entrepreneur, and he started his entrepreneur career at age 15. And he has turned multiple passions into prosperous businesses and careers. You could actually see behind him, he's got all sorts of different records. So he has a very different background from what he's doing now. But he has been a best-selling music and television producer, author, speaker, and successful entrepreneur. He's helped thousands of small business owners transform their businesses by showing them how to play ball with the big corporations and beat them at their own game. His new book, Outsource Smart, has propelled him to the top of the bestseller list. He's actually a New York Times bestseller, #1 Amazon bestseller among many. He has become an advocate for the small business owner and has appeared on numerous radio and TV shows globally. He has sold thousands of books worldwide. And what sets Daven apart from many others is that he has applied his winning formulas to multiple businesses and has generated millions. He doesn't teach from theory or basic motivational chit-chat. He has a unique ability to evaluate almost any business very quickly and recommend practical solutions that can be implemented ideally by leveraging others. So Daven's experience has not gone unnoticed by the speaking world. He has spoken on stage with many people like Bill Clinton, Mark Victor Hansen, Les Brown, Brian Tracy, and among others. So Daven, I'd love to welcome you to the show.
Thanks, Christy. That's a great introduction. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, you sounds like you've had an exciting life. And I know before we started this recording, you were telling me a little bit about the little trophies behind you.
Yeah.
Tell us about your entrepreneurial journey.
Sure. Well, certainly, it's an entrepreneur story, and I'm sure if you're watching this video, you probably have an entrepreneur story too. I know you do, Christy. And for me, I started my business when I was 15. I just was extremely motivated. I wanted more than I grew up with, and so I worked really hard. I was designing clothing in the early days for bands, and most of my bands really had nothing going on. Most were playing their garage, but funny thing happened just shortly after we opened for business. MTV came on the air and changed the face of music and changed our lives. So we were working with these bands that had very little going on. Within about 90 days, most of our bands had record deals. Within a year, they were selling millions of albums, and we rode that wave. And it was incredible, especially at such a young age, traveling the globe with these bands that became very big. And we found ourselves working with some of the biggest bands of the 80s and 90s, like Duran Duran and Cyndi Lauper and Thompson Twins and lots of these bands. From there, I sold that business, started a telecommunications venture, had some great success. I sold to a public company and took back stock. And that moment in time really changed my life. From there, I've done a whole bunch of different things. As you can see, I produced music and television for about 15 years, was a recording artist for a while. And then about a decade ago, we started our outsourcing business, which is 123 Employee. And it was a rough road in the early days. The infrastructure wasn't there. But today, we have 3 centers. We have hundreds and hundreds of employees. And we work with entrepreneurs all over the globe and some of the biggest thought leaders on the planet like you, Christy. And we do all the busy stuff in their business, from internet marketing, social media, telemarketing, back office stuff, all the busy stuff so they can focus on the income generating activities in their business and the things that really juice them and excite them. And we love doing it. It's a lot of fun. We're all entrepreneurs. So, it's a really fun business.
Well, I always say that the biggest secret to my success is that I got clear early on the things that I loved to do and the things that I hated to do, but that were a necessity in my business.
Yeah.
So for me, I got clear that I want to coach, I want to write, I want to teach, I want to create, because I love creating the marketing stuff, but any of the stuff that I have to implement, any of the website stuff, bookkeeping, any of the stuff that's essential, social media, any of that stuff, I don't want to do. So I have a team that does it. Yeah. And what you're providing a team for people, especially in it's amazing. It's such a great fit because I train coaches and a lot of them don't have a team that they can automatically, do these things for them. So it's a really perfect fit when someone's starting out as a coach, for example, or a speaker or an entrepreneur, like you're saying, and they need a team. You absolutely need a team. You can't do everything yourself. Believe me, I tried. It's not fun.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
But I found that I so much more love my business, and I get more done, and I make more money, and I'm more enlivened by what I do when I outsource the stuff that I don't like to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's an interesting time that we live in today. You've been an entrepreneur for a long time. I have too. And it was when we started our entrepreneurial careers, it was very different than it is today. I mean, today, because of technology, in theory, if you wanted to, you could do everything in your business, right? You could do the sales and the distribution, the marketing. You could do it all. But of course, you would need a 72-hour day, right? It would be impossible. But so many entrepreneurs at the core of who they are, and even I am too, we're all micromanagers. And what happens is when you micromanage your business, you're going to be stuck in your business. You're never going to be able to scale your business. It's going to be, and instead of being fun, it's going to be a real burden. And so the great thing about outsourcing is that, it allows you to get all the minutia off your plate so you can really focus on the income generating activities in your business and the things that really juice you and excite you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what would you say the biggest challenge is for, what are the biggest challenge that entrepreneurs face in today's society? Like
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think the biggest challenge is, what do they face when it actually comes to outsourcing? And as I said, at the core of all entrepreneurs is really a micromanager. And so being able to sort of relinquish some of that control and actually delegate and outsource is a huge deal. But the two challenges that we find entrepreneurs have when it comes to outsourcing is, one, they run out of things for their virtual assistant to do. And two, they get too busy to manage. And that's a huge challenge. Matter of fact, we're always asking our clients, what they love about the virtual assistant, what they feel, might need some work and so on and so forth. But we also ask our employees the same thing. And our employees, the one thing they hate the most is not being busy. And the reason why is because about 65% of our workforce comes in at midnight and works till 9:30 in the morning, because 65% of our clients are in the US and 35% is the rest of the world. So our employees, they really just want to come in, be busy, and then go about their day. The worst thing for them is when they have nothing to do. What do? They fall asleep at their desk. And if you remember the last time you fell asleep at your desk, you probably woke up and went to bed. Our employees don't have that luxury. They're at work, so they just want to work and be busy. And so you and I are going to do a webinar, and we'll talk about that in a few. And on that webinar, I'll share a whole bunch of different strategies to keep your virtual assistant busy and also to make it easy to manage your virtual assistant. So that's something we'll definitely, share on the webinar.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you came out with a big software launch last year. What can you tell our audience about that?
I can, yeah. So at the end of the day, in our business, we are always basically selling human capital. That's what we do. But we do a lot of other things to kind of bring people into our fold, if you will. When I started the business almost a decade ago, nobody knew about outsourcing for small businesses. Big companies were doing it, but small businesses knew nothing about it. They didn't know how to do it, if they should do it, nothing. And that was a big challenge for us because we didn't really have a market. And so we realized early on that if we wanted to have a market, we would kind of have to chisel out that market. And we did. And we did it through education. So we started educating our prospects on how to use virtual assistants to grow their business. And as a result, we ended up getting clients. And that model we still use today, but we've expanded it. And so I believe that the biggest challenge that most entrepreneurs face in their business, probably two biggest challenges. One is time and one is leads or more business coming through the door. And so we are always looking at ways to help people with those challenges. And so last year we created a software platform. We actually spent 2 years in development, but last year in November we released it, a platform called Social Sonic, which basically turns your social media into a CRM, a contact relations manager. So it's like having Salesforce or Infusionsoft, but you have 300 million contacts under the hood because it integrates with social media. It's pretty intense. And so what we did is we gave people this software, but we gave them a virtual assistant to run it for them because we know they're too busy. And if we just gave them the software, they wouldn't do anything with it. We actually give them the human capital to do it. So we came up with, we launched Social Sonic in November. It's been huge. I think I looked at the amount of leads we've generated for our clients since inception in November, and I think it's like over 80 million. So
Wow.
yeah, it's really amazing. And so yeah, it's been exciting. And on the webinar that we're going to talk about in a few,
Yeah.
I'm going to share and kind of peel back the curtain and show people how we're generating massive amounts, literally unlimited leads in social media, and it's pretty cool.
And it doesn't matter what business you're in, right?
It doesn't. I haven't found a business yet that will not work with Social Sonic. There's certainly somebody's going to stump me at some point, I'm sure, but not as of yet. I'll tell you what the funniest one was. We had a person that was in the dating niche, and he was like, well, could we use this software? Because he wanted to share it with his people. He said, could we use this software for guys to find girls to go out with? And I said, well, gosh, I don't know. So I went back to my team. We played around with it. And it actually turned out to be the coolest use and one of the most robust uses of Social Sonic. So far, we have not found a business where it wouldn't work. And it can even help you meet your ideal mate, which is kind of interesting.
That's awesome.
Go figure, right?
We can use more of that.
Yeah, there you go.
So awesome. So you are the go-to person in the field of outsourcing.
Sure.
So I know you're going to know this, but
Sure.
What is the biggest challenge entrepreneurs have when it comes to managing a virtual employer team?
Well, yeah, those were the two that I kind of alluded to. So yeah, one is getting too busy to manage. And again, I'm going to share with people how not to get too busy to manage, and then running out of things to do. And on the webinar that we do, I'm actually going to show people how to have kind of an endless supply of lead gen strategies and tactics for your virtual assistant to do on a regular basis. So
awesome.
That'd be huge for their business. Yeah.
So I know you and I are going to do a webinar for everybody.
That's right.
And along with that, so you guys get to, Daven's going to give everybody a webinar that's with he and I.
Yeah.
And then you'll also receive a copy of Daven's book, an audio book, which is Outsource This.
Yes.
So we're going to have that directly under the video. You can go up and sign, just right into the video. There's a link. You can sign up for the webinar and get his book. Any other things that you want to say before we bring them over, shuffle them over to our webinar?
Yeah, sure. One last thing. I, just like you, I have the privilege of speaking on stages all over the globe. And if you know me personally, which you certainly will after the webinar that Christy and I are doing together, you'll learn that I'm a naturally inquisitive person. I love people. It's a characteristic my dad had, and he passed that on to me. And so if you hang out with me, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. And so I speak on stages all over the globe. And I always ask entrepreneurs this question, that is, what's the biggest challenge that you're facing in your business today? And although I always receive a myriad of different responses, it always comes down to two. You want to know what the two are?
Of course.
Okay. So number one is time. So when I ask entrepreneurs, they always say number one is time. I mean, let's face it, time is finite. There's only so much to go around. Once it's gone, it's gone. So I get that. Yeah, I would, the number one challenge for entrepreneurs is time. They need more time. The second challenge they always say is the need for leads or business coming through the door. And I have to tell you, if it was me personally, if you asked me, I would say that's number one. But most people say number two. So, and I believe that if you can get that dialed in, if you can get the marketing dialed into your business, if you have a ton of leads coming through your business, if you have a ton of business coming through the door, if your bank accounts are overflowing with money, then I think that you can buy yourself probably out of just about any challenge in your business, right? You can find somebody that can help you, and you can pay them lots of money and they'll help you out. And so on the webinar, I'm going to share and show with everybody, peel back the curtain, how we're using Social Sonic to generate a massive amount of leads, and how we're using virtual assistants to do all that processing. And it's going to be a huge eye-opener. And if all you do is show up and take copious notes, you will leave with those tools to generate a massive amount of business for your business. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be edutaining, so it'll be very interesting. At the same time, we're going to have a lot of fun on the webinar. And, jump on, get registered, and it'll be a blast.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daven. I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate it too.
Guys, go below the video, check out the webinar. You want to definitely go hear what Daven has to say and to get his book. So if you're an entrepreneur in any kind of business, this is for you. And you're absolutely right. I mean, I would say that no matter what business you're in, you want more leads, you want more customers, and you can certainly buy more time when you have that. So
yeah, and by the way, I'll throw in one more thing too. I know most of your tribe, Christy, are entrepreneurs, but if you are not yet, maybe you're looking at becoming a coach, but you're not a coach as of yet, this will be for you as well. If you're looking to start something new, you're in the right place. And if you're already having an established business, it'll just help you grow that business. So.
Awesome. Well, be sure to click the link and sign up, everybody, and let us know what you're taking away from today. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, because I know there's many of you that either are a stay-at-home mom or you have, you work for somebody else. Let me know what you're taking away from this as well. So thanks again, Daven, and thanks everybody. Have a really awesome, amazing week.
Awesome. Thanks, Christy. We'll see you all soon on the webinar.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching, and here is a related video to watch right now. Also, check out my free webinars on creating whatever you want in your life using the universal laws that I explain in each webinar. So share your thoughts by leaving a comment and continue the conversation at ChristyWhitman.com.